This might be the most interesting award on the board, in my opinion. Who is your rookie of the year?
My rookie of the year is going to be Chet Holmgren. It is a really interesting race, and I've been pleasantly surprised with this rookie class. More than I expected after the draft. You know, I mean, we had our top dogs, Chet Holmgren obviously missing his rookie season, Victor Wembanyama stepping into the fold, but I've liked the depth too. I'm going to give it to Chet. Chet this season, 17-7-3 on 55, 39, 79 splits, nearly 65% true shooting with 2.5 blocks a game. He's shooting catch and shoot threes at a 42% clip on nearly 4 attempts per game. He is 27-13 with the Thunder. He has not missed a game this season. And he's holding players 10.3% below their average field goal percentage inside 6 feet on 9 shots defended per game. Minimum 6 shots defended per game. That's a 10th best mark in the NBA. The reason that I would give this award to Chet Holmgren over Victor Wembanyama is because of the winning context. And I want to be clear about something. I really have no issue if you give this to Wemby. Wemby's a fucking freak, man. He's everything that we touted him up to be. If you guys want to break down, if you haven't already seen it, blowing up, Carson did a breakdown today on Wemby. You can check it out right here on our channel. Wemby's a freak, and he's in such a difficult situation in San Antonio because the burden is so much on him. And I know it's a played-out storyline at this point, but watch a Spurs game. I don't know if the Spurs players resent him, Carson. Like, I'll use this as an example. And again, I am a casual basketball player. I love playing pickup. It scratches that itch for me. I love it. When I'm playing fives and I have a good shooter with me, I tell him before the game starts, hey, man, I am looking for you all game. I am going to tee you up. Just keep shooting. If you can get to an open spot on the perimeter, I'm going to feed you. And if I was a Spurs player, I'm feeding Wemby all night because I know what kind of freak he is. And the Spurs players actively don't set him up for success. I think it is a really tough situation that he is being forced to overcome, and he is getting better. But considering that Chet is doing this in such a winning context and addressed the biggest need for the Oklahoma City Thunder and is doing this so damn efficiently, I have to give it to him. Like, I have to recognize that Chet's situation is not nearly as difficult as Victor Wembanyama's, and I don't know how Chet would look if he was in San Antonio. But Chet's a winning basketball player. He's doing it so efficiently on both ends of the floor right now that I just have to reward that. It is so hard for rookies to play winning basketball. Again, he is in such a better situation. He's got the 2 best players out of these teams. He might have more. You know what I mean? He gets to play with Shea. He gets to play with J-Dub. It's a loaded young roster. But Chet is doing this in a winning context. Carson, right now, he is averaging the second most efficient 15 points per game in all of the NBA. Like, he just takes good shots. He's a 94th percentile cutter. He's 88th percentile out of isolation. He's a 79th percentile roll man. Chet's a beast, and he addressed the Thunder's biggest need. Considering he is a rookie doing this in a winning context so damn efficiently, I got to give the nod to Chet.
Yeah, this is an incredibly tough decision for me. These are 2 of the most exceptional rookies that we have seen this century. And it's a fascinating contrast because we have maybe the most immediately ready to contribute to winning on a damn good team rookie of the last 2 decades versus the most overwhelmingly talented rookie of the last 2 decades who's in a much less serious situation. I have felt for most of the year that Chet deserves this award. He has been efficient out of every play type. He is a fantastic play finisher around the rim with his size and length and athleticism. He is a fantastic shooter. He is a smart passer. He is already a legitimately elite defender. He is a more polished offensive player than Wemby in that he's got a much tighter handle and he's less turnover prone and he's been a much better 3-point shooter this year. The dude is impacting winning in a way that is incredibly rare from rookies. And he's not just benefiting from being in a really good situation, which he is. The stuff that he is doing in terms of this versatile 2-way impact is the ideal for modern NBA bigs. He is hitting that, and he is doing it as a rookie. Then you have Wemby, who may make more mistakes, and he may lose his handle more, and he may take more bad shots. But he will also do things that literally nobody else on the planet can. He will erase shots that nobody else can because he's 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan. He will catch lobs that nobody else on the planet could. And has been playing at a truly unbelievable level as of late. Like, I think that if we were going to have this conversation a little bit over a month ago, it would have clearly been Chet, because Wemby would have been too inefficient. He would have been too turnover prone. Regardless of the brutal situation, I think that the production and efficiency just wouldn't quite be there. But 15 games ago, he moved to center. And since doing that, he has been much better than Chet, in my opinion. He is giving you over 20 points a night, 11 rebounds, 3.6 assists, on 59% true shooting. He has started to knock down his threes. He's giving you almost 4 blocks a game, and he's doing that in fewer minutes because he's been dealing with a nagging ankle injury, so he's been on a minutes restriction for a good portion of that stretch. But he has improved in basically every single way. First of all, I think that the Spurs are asking him to do less in terms of creating in these one-on-one situations where he's been less efficient, and they have realized a bit more, hey, this dude is a literally unmatched athlete. If we can just get him the ball around the rim, he is a one-of-one finishing weapon. And so he's been much more dominant in those traditional big man settings. As a roller, he's been utilized more. He's been finishing at the rim a lot more and has been doing so more efficiently. But I also think he has become more comfortable with NBA physicality. And I think that he's become a bit more decisive as a driver. And so that also has to do with his efficiency as a finisher around the rim going up. He's been more involved as a passer, where you see that he already has some really impressive ability to execute fake handoffs. He's got good timing and placement and feel, dotting up cutters. Like, he's a legitimately good passer. And then Chet's defensive impact is one of the most pronounced from any rookie this century, but I think that Wemby's is on another level. And you can quantify that with the on-off data, the fact that the defense has been 9 points per 100 possessions better when he's on the floor. The statistics around the rim, like, he has been one of the 3 most effective volume rim protectors in basketball. He's holding opposing players 12% below their typical field goal percentage around the rim. But then there's also just the constant impact that his length and size has as an intimidator. The fact that people are shooting way worse from the perimeter when Wemby is guarding them because of how much his length affects any shot on a closeout. It's just remarkable. It's historic shot blocking, his ability to take away passing lanes, to erase lobs that appear to be open, to threaten both the pick and roll ball handler and the guy who is rolling at the same time. Trae Young literally talked about this, how easily he can recover to the lob threat or how easily he can block your shot as the pick and roll ball handler. We've never seen anybody like that. I think he's already in the defensive player of the year conversation to me. So Chet was clearly better in the first quarter of the season. Wemby has clearly been better in the second quarter of the season. But because of what he's done in this situation, because his efficiency now still isn't as good as Chet's, but it's catching up as his raw production is exceeding him across the board, I think that I am going with Wemby right now. To me, this is what he looks like as he's more comfortable, as the Spurs are not actively screwing him up with his situation as much, and it is just remarkable. He is doing stuff routinely that nobody else on the planet can. Everything is coming together, and he is legitimately dominating in a way that Chet isn't capable of, to me. He just doesn't have that level of outlier tools. As crazy as Chet's tools are, he's not 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan and all of this athleticism and this perimeter skill. So Chet has been more polished. He has been more consistent. He has been on a damn good team. But this surge that we have seen from Wemby over the last 15 games has been as impressive as anything I've seen from a rookie in my lifetime. And I am going to value that slightly more because I think it offsets Chet's advantage and the head start that he had earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think Wemby's a better basketball player, and I want to be clear with both of these guys, too. I mean, you would be blessed to have either of them as the building block for your franchise years to come. I mean, they are absurdly talented. And for you Chet lovers, too, Carson's not knocking Chet. Like, Carson is as big of a Chet guy as they come.
I am the Chet lover. I called Chet the best prospect I had ever been able to competently evaluate. I called him the best prospect since Anthony Davis until Wemby came along. So I am a huge Chet guy. That's what I'm saying. These are two, like,
Titans.
Titans. Two of the best rookies of this century. And that's why I'm not with people ragging on Chet, trying to take down any of these dudes, because they both should be Rookie of the Year. In any normal year, either one of these dudes would be a runaway Rookie of the Year. And if I can say one more thing, Logan, I made this Wemby video today, and it was just hilarious to me because I mentioned at a couple points that, like, Wemby had become the Rookie of the Year underdog to Chet Holmgren, which is objectively true. He's the betting underdog. And then I was like, even if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, that will have much more to do with Chet being exceptional than it does anything with Wemby, because Wemby is delivering. And tons of people in the comments are just freaking out about the Chet thing, thinking that I'm disrespecting Wemby or something. Just settle down, okay? Wemby is my Rookie of the Year, but Chet is objectively the favorite right now. I think that Chet has deserved that title for most of the year, because you can't just pick Rookie of the Year based on talent. You have to actually materialize that talent, and that's what Wemby's been doing as of late in an exceptional way. But just don't disrespect Chet, man, because he's special, and both of these dudes are going to be perennial MVP candidates, and watching them compete for Defensive Player of the Year is going to be fun, but there's levels to this. Chet can be Defensive Player of the Year. Wemby can be the best defensive player ever.
Well said, everything. The final thing I want to reiterate here, the reason that I have Chet doing this is because I think he's impacted winning in a context that is just very rare to see from any rookie player. Carson, with your historical knowledge of the NBA, who's the last rookie that you felt like had this level or a comparable level of a winning impact immediately? Like, do we got to look back to, like, Magic and Bird? Is there a guy before then? Like, who in the scope do you think has had this level of winning impact like Chet?
So it's a really good question, and I have said that I think when you're talking about doing it on a damn good team like this, fitting into a role like Chet has, but a really important role, a like star level role where you're not the guy, but you're the second guy, I think that you could look at somebody like Blake Griffin and say he was more immediately dominant as a number one, but he was doing it on a team that wasn't all that good, right? I think when you are looking at impact on a damn good basketball team, you might have to go back to Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan was way better than Chet as a rookie. If Chet is like a top 40-ish player, Tim Duncan was a top 5 player. But he already had that two-way dominance, but then he was capable of doing more as a legitimate go-to guy offensively. But it's just rare. And especially in the one-and-done era, and even in the early 2000s when dudes were coming right out of high school, players weren't coming in ready to contribute to winning like that. And high draft picks would rarely end up on a team where that was what was expected of them. So you have guys who have this obvious talent, but they probably are inefficient, and they probably aren't contributing too much defensively, and they probably aren't winning games. It's just a rare combination of falling into that situation and having a skill set like Chet does that I legitimately don't think we've seen in a couple decades. If you go back before then you have consistently more guys, right? Like Shaq was legitimately a dominant force as a rookie. David Robinson, 24, so kind of cheating, but he was a dominant force as the rookie. Dudes were coming into the league more physically mature, 22 years old, etc. That's the difference. In the 21st century, this is incredibly rare.
It's very rare. I think, yeah, I mean, so legitimately have not seen this in the 2000s, man. Since 2000. That's crazy.
It's crazy. We hadn't seen Chet's skill set ever until Wemby came up with a little bit of a juiced up version of it. And again, Chet may have more polish, but Wemby has more upside in arguably every arena because he has tools that we have never seen before.